Hey there viewers, welcome back to another episode of Ray of All Trades. Today is a 2007 Acura RDX. It's got the 4-cylinder turbocharged in it, which I think all of them do. Oil change. Today we're going to also change out some wiper blades, and it had a error message for a large evap leak, and when I hooked it up to a scan tool, anytime that the gas cap was sitting a certain way, it would throw this high leak or condition. Whenever I would modify that gas cap, turn it around, it would go away. So the first thing and the easiest thing to check for me is going to be replace that gas cap, and then I'll look at purge solenoids, things like that. So let's get to the oil change and go over some basic maintenance items that I always check each time, and hopefully you get something out of this. In addition to always setting the emergency brake, I also put a block underneath the rear wheels. I'm going to block up the rear wheel, have the hood, get the hood open, make sure it's up on ramps and stable. Quick preliminary, make sure nothing's going to fall out on me. Let's get oil pan and get underneath this thing. I believe this one holds about 6 quarts of oil, which is almost the maximum for my oil pan. So I'm going to grab a secondary oil pan for the just in case. Okay, let's get our bearings here. This will be the passenger side of the car over here, driver's side of the car over here. Transmission's on this side, oil pan's on this side. It says engine oil right here. And this one appears to be a 17 millimeter. There we go. So the head of this is just a little bit buggered up, so I made sure that I wiggled the wrench to be on there nice and snug. I'll hold it flat. Whoever tightened it last did a really good job. So I'm going to double wrench this, take another box end wrench, put it on the bottom down here. Wow, that was really tight. Guys, this gasket is supposed to do all the tightening, or all the sealing I should say. Doesn't need to be that tight. So keep in mind that if that oil gets on you, that oil is hot from being warmed up. You need to wipe it off. If you just tried to get your hand out of the way and let it cool down like water would do, it'll take a really long time because the oil will hold that heat for a really long time. So keep an eye on the oil draining out. Make sure it's landing in the center of this pan. Just clean off the plug and get ready for cleaning up the rest of these surfaces. Okay, so one of the things that happens when you over tighten a plug like that is you mess up this gasket. It's designed to seal with pressure. So I pulled out another fiber gasket, and I ended up having to use a screwdriver and put this in a vise to get that gasket to start sealing, or to coming out of the way. So let's get this pulled off of here. I'm sure this is going to be really sharp because it is aluminum and it's been squashed. Make sure that's all cleaned up. Make sure the next gasket seals up on there. This might be a little bit loose, but it does seal up all the way around. There's no gaps where the oil can get past. It's got a significant seal on it. Waiting for that to finish seeping out. Possible it wasn't quite hot enough because that should have come out pretty quick, but we're gonna seal up, make sure this is completely clean, get it so that that gasket surface can meet up on there. While we're under here, we're going to look for any kind of abnormal leaks or anything like that. Check our CV boots. There's 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. Look for any kind of different colorations of antifreeze, oil, transmission, anything like that. Look for anything that joined the car in the process of driving it that we didn't want, didn't expect. Bags, debris, things like that. There we go. Let's get this surface cleaned up really well. One of the things I want to do is, since I've changed that gasket out, I want to make sure the new one seals up flat. Just make sure it wasn't too big, because there is a recess in there. Oh yeah, I was able to put it completely on by hand. Gasket went up flat up into there. Gonna tighten it up, but not like it was. Those box wrenches do a few things. Number one is it wraps completely around the plug itself. The other thing it does is, because it's so short, it keeps you from putting way too much leverage tightening this thing up. There we go. So, as long as that gasket does its job, we shouldn't have any leaks, even with it only being that tight. It's not very tight. Now, something I discovered. That oil filter requires the smaller of the small size normal oil filter wrenches, and I loaned it out and I don't have it with me, so I'm gonna do the next best thing and grab a pair of channel locks. Actually, I'm gonna try to do it by hand, and if I can't get it by hand, I'll grab a pair of channel locks and pull it off that way. Yeah, apparently when you loan tools out, you got to make sure you get them back. Came off. A lot of times you can get them off by hand if they were properly lubricated when they were put on. Thread it off a little bit. Let most of the oil run out. Keeping 2 hands on it so that when it does come loose, it is slippery. I don't want it to splash. So I'm trying to keep positive control of that filter. And if it, reaction-wise, if it does splash, just turn your head away as fast as you can. That's the most important part. So what we're looking for, make sure that the old O-ring came off with the filter. Make sure it's not still stuck up in here. So up here you should see is a machined, usually aluminum surface up here, and we're going to clean all that out. We're going to lubricate our new filter O-ring, and then we're going to put it back up hand tight. Let's get that cleaned out. Wiping off the walls as well as the surface. Because if you don't get that stuff off the walls, even though it's not really doing anything, it'll collect dirt and debris and all, and it'll just make it that much worse as far as cleaning and whatnot. It's not going to hurt anything, but if at all possible, always take a visual, make sure there's nothing stuck on this surface right here. Take your brand new filter and a cap full of brand new oil. And what I usually do is just take the cap off the new oil jug and pour it in there. Dip my finger in there and coat this ring. Goes right up in here. A lot of people will pre-fill that filter so that it doesn't starve for oil, especially on vertical ones like this, and that's perfectly fine. I've just never been in habit of doing it, so it builds oil pressure so quickly. but I'm not here to say that anybody's doing it one way. You know, one way is wrong and one way is right. So, lubed up O-ring, hand tight, no problems. Make sure you clean off your drain plug so that if it does start leaking, you know what's fresh and what's not. We've already checked the underside of the car. Let's pull everything out from here, look up how many quarts it takes, and get that added. See you up top. Okay, let's get this thing filled up. Just looking up the capacity on this. By the way, it says Mobile 1 or equivalent, 5W30. I like running the Mobile 1. It hasn't let me down. I'm sure there's, again, like Coke and Pepsi and Ford and Chevy, there's all kinds of people like different things. My wife used to always say, "Don't yuck my yum," which was I'm not a fan of cottage cheese, things like that. So basically everybody's entitled to an opinion, right? Anyhow, Mobile 1, 5 quarts. I swear it took a little bit more than that. If I get to the end of this and it takes more, I will come back and edit and overlay the proper amount on there. But for easy oil pour, you want the jug upside down like this. I've never had a good luck with trying to get it to go this way because it usually splashes onto this. So I usually turn it sideways and just don't take as aggressive of a pour. It still allows the air to come in. Give it a chance for the funnel to empty. And take that funnel, like putting it right back up into that jug, let it finish draining. Make sure that there's no debris around the cap. You don't want any kind of dirt or anything getting on that gasket. Fill it up. After we start this and let it run for 30 seconds, we're going to check the oil filter level with it in the off position. And the car has to be flat, which is where my biggest problem is right now. I'm on a hill. You're going to wipe it off. Once you take a dipstick reading, there is 2 notches here. Full is at this top notch. 1 notch down, I believe, is usually on this car. I think is a it's either half a quart or a 1 quart. But anyway, you want it to be sitting right there. Turbocharged engine, yeah, they really need oil. So don't neglect the turbocharged engine. This one's got over 200,000 miles and runs like the day it was bought. So anyway, like I said, we're gonna start it, run 30 seconds, check the oil level, make sure that it's good. You're gonna pull it out, clean it, put it back in, read it. So add if necessary. Once you wash your fluid, this one it drains way down inside here. I just filled this the other day, but add it until it starts running up into here. Power steering pump, you want it between these 2 lines on the side. So if you need to add some, just clean the cap, it just pulls right off, and add the appropriate power steering fluid. Don't just grab anything off the shelf. I usually look for the one that says Honda compatible. Coolant reservoir, so it ties directly off of the radiator cap. You want to read your coolant level here. There's 2 lines, max and minimum. And you want to make sure that it's between those 2, and if it's not, add the appropriate 50-50 mixture of the coolant that is compatible with your vehicle. While you're under here, check the belts, make sure that they don't have any cracks, tears, anything like that. Take a good look at them. I've done that off camera. Take a good look at them. If you need to start the engine, shut it off and check it a couple times, you can. Make sure that your air conditioning charge ports don't have any oil around them, indicating that, you know, maybe you've got a leak occurring, because most of the time they'll actually leak. If it's not the compressor, they'll usually leak at these valves, and that's the most common problem that I've seen. Make sure your brake fluid reservoir is between the minimum and the maximum. If your brakes are getting close to wearing out, they will probably be closer to the minimum side. And if you have somebody else doing your oil changes for you that loves to throw fluid in, I'm not going to name any names, it'll probably be sitting at maximum all the time. So don't use that as your brake wear indicator. Have a professional shop, or if you have the ability, recheck them. But generally, it's sitting at maximum when the brakes are full, capacity on it's full, and as it wears out, it'll reach the minimum it's getting down there. That filter looks terrible. All right, so we're going to vacuum out this box, and this is a K&N filter. I can tell by the screen that's on it. So let me get this vacuumed out. I'm gonna have to blow this one out and go back to the store. I don't know if you guys saw my other video. I got to go to the other store for a. I got to go to the store for the other car as well for an air filter. Didn't plan on those. I had sworn that I had changed them not that long ago. But hey, here's the reason why you check them, right? You don't just because what you think you might have changed them doesn't mean that you did. So with this one, as dirty as it is, there's no way I'm getting the right fuel mileage out of this vehicle. And then so after I vacuum out, clean this out, you always want to make sure. Check your battery caps. I see that I've got some corrosion starting. Looks like this clamp was loose before because somebody has put a couple of copper wires in there to give it some strength. So I need to change out this battery lead, clean the acid off of it, and make sure that they're tight. So the easiest way to tell that they're tight is wiggle them back and forth and see if they move. But the simple fact that I see somebody added a copper wire in here to take up the slack for the battery lead tells me that I need to change this thing out. Okay, proper instructions. Cleaning the K&N filter before re-oiling. Lightly brush off surface with dirt with soft bristle brush. Spray on K&N cleaner and let soak for 10 minutes. Reverse flush with plain water. Shake off excess water and allow filter to dry naturally. Re-oil with K&N air filter oil. Do not clean with gas, solvent, steam, or caustic lye cleaners. Do not use high pressure air to clean or dry filter. So I've got a little bit of that oil here. Going to be changing out this filter. I don't want to deal with all that. Supposedly that, you know, a couple of horsepower gain and a couple of miles to gallon that you're supposedly going to get. By the way, I'm not getting. I don't think it's worth all that hassle. Sorry, K&N. You're getting changed as soon as I can. One more quart of oil. I need to write that down. Something told me it was. I just want to be sure. And there we go. Full. Six quarts. 2007 RDX. Turbocharged 4-cylinder. Alright, 2007 RDX. Reset the engine oil life. So turn the key to the on position. It's already on oil life, but I would be pressing this button to cycle through. It's got a lot of miles in this vehicle. Press and hold the button in for a 10-second count. Alright, let go. There we go. Just press and hold that same button again until it comes back to 100% oil life. Turn the key off, key back on. And you're reset. I'll do that one more time. Alright, so we're going to turn the key on. You're going to hit this button to cycle through until it says oil life like it just did. It's at 100% oil life right now because I just reset it, but we're going to press and hold this button in. I believe it's a full 10-second count until it starts blinking. blinking, you're going to let go of the button and press and hold that button again. Until it goes back to 100%. And that's it. So turn the key off. That's how you reset your filter on a non-tech package 2007 RDX. The tech package is a little bit different. They would have buttons on the steering wheel. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Okay, so I turned on the wipers, turned the key on till the wipers came up, shut the key off, and they stay in the up position. Helps get access to the wipers a little bit easier, and then you can rotate them back. So 14 goes on the back. It's like 16 goes there, and 26 goes there. Okay, these are full replacements. Let's get you guys closer. Okay, with the wiper up in the air, what you're trying to do, the metal has a shape that comes up in a hook, and it has like a square back here that you're anchored into. Okay, on this style, you squeeze these two tabs, lift this out the way, and then we're going to pull down. There is a square on that arm right there that matches up to a keyway inside there. Okay, new blade. You can see that this side up here is kind of rounded. This arm through that, turn this so that that round side, the round part, is facing up. Rotate it in so that it follows the same angle as the arm. I'm trying to do this one-handed, sorry guys. I'm going to push it up until it snaps. And then you guys didn't hear it snap, and neither did I, but I felt it snap, and I'm trying to pull down and it doesn't move. So as long as it's locked in, rotate it back and then gently lay it back on the windshield. So we're going to do the same thing on this other one. Squeeze that tab, pull it out. We'll see if it comes off without. It does. So those anchors aren't very good. Ideally, if it doesn't hurt to put a cover over the windshield in case that does fall. So yes, I am living on the edge right now. Unpack my new wiper blade. Through there. Turn. I heard it snap that time, but basically turn the blade, make sure it doesn't pull down. You're not pulling real hard, but you want to make sure it's locked on there. Rotate the blade and gently put it back into place. Okay, rear wiper blade. Lift up, rotate forward until it comes completely loose and drops out. New wiper blade. The post is in the forward position with the pins back behind it. Rotate that into place. I didn't know I was going to be holding a screwdriver in my hand, so I didn't need one. I'm just pushing it back into that groove and then snapping it back in place. So pull the gas cap loose. Let's see. Oh shoot, doesn't look like I can keep that ring. Okay, I'm going to grab a pair of long bent nose pliers. Reach around to the back side. I'm just slowly working it forward so I can get past those two tabs. Hopefully that's enough. There we go. I'm going to save that for the next gas cap, or to make sure that this one here that doesn't have the rope is there, because I like to be able to have a safety strap for it. I mean, the gas cap's supposed to fit in this groove when you take it loose anyway. It's supposed to drop right inside there. And it does not fit that well at all. So forget that I was going to show you that. So, yep, I'm going to be looking for another gas cap that has a safety strap on it. Just so you know, that one that I ordered does not. And by the way, all that's rainwater that was at the bottom of that. We had a lot of rain here last night. So that's it for the 2007 Acura RDX. 3 new wipers, new gas cap, oil change, Mobil 1 synthetic, and reset the oil filter life. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and appreciate a thumbs up, a subscribe. Helps the channel tremendously. And thanks for hanging out with me today.